Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree with Judge Foster that the justice system is a core government function. I also do not disagree that California has very high taxes and fees. I also agree that fees is really a form of regressive taxation. The issue I have generally is it a responsibility of the federal government to bail out states with bad policies? Because ultimately, if you do that, you punish the states with good policies and make them pay to the states with bad policies. And it seems like it should be a responsibility of constituency of that state to elect good government, to not vote for them and replace us with better people if they don't like policies, or they can move to other states, and we see a lot of this happening. But I mean, as a gentleman from New York mentioned that 14th Amendment didn't exist during the time of the Federalist Papers. The 16th Amendment doesn't exist too, but the Supreme Court recently also confirmed that excessive fines clause applies to states. And it seems like this issue should go through the judicial system. It would be a better approach. But if the federal government has to do something, it seems like we talk a lot about carrots, and I think Judge Foster, you mentioned carrots and sticks. What kind of sticks? Maybe we should look, states maybe shouldn't get some money for something instead of giving them the money. What is examples of few sticks you can give us to make sure that the states, with having bad policies, are not doing that instead of keep bailing them out?
Certainly. And let me just say that I gave California as an example, but every single state in the country and many municipalities within those states charge excessive fines and fees. This is a problem everywhere. It is not just a problem in some states. It's a problem in every state.
So just the scale of problems is large in some states, but I don't disagree with it. But just quickly, if you can briefly mention a few things.
Sure. With respect to sticks, let me give an example. When Congress determined that, for example, the speed limit across the country should be reduced to both conserve gas and protect lives, Congress did that by conditioning the receipt of federal dollars on states lowering the speed limit. That's a stick. We could do the same thing with respect to the money that Congress has appropriated through Justice Department grants, money that goes to the states. And we could say to the states, for example, if you want those federal dollars, then you have to collect data. If you want those federal dollars, you have to stop suspending driver's licenses for unpaid fines and fees. If you want those federal dollars, you need to do an ability to pay assessment before you impose a fine. If you want those federal dollars, you have to provide counsel, which the Constitution requires, without charging people a fee for that counsel. Those are the kinds of sticks that the federal government could use.
Right. Just, it seems like government all we do is just collect data and report. And it seems like I've been a state government too, and we just collect data. It's all about collection data, but I would like to get some real policies. We have discussion. Maybe Mr. Head, you have some other thoughts that you have, from libertarian perspectives, because I do understand that excessive fines really, can have adverse effects on people who do not have money, and the system can be stuck against someone who doesn't have the money, and it's very bureaucratic and expensive. So what other thoughts you have? What is there is a function federal government should have, or should be really just purely go through the judicial system?
Well, I wouldn't say that I have specific examples of sticks. What I actually am even more concerned about is the inadvertent, in essence, sticks that end up coming by dangling carrots and finding overreach. So when you, as I mentioned earlier, we have burgeoned our either federal or state justice systems over the last particularly 40 years, 35 to 40 years, and have introduced different federal grants to either study or to implement programs or to provide services, but the grants are never offered in perpetuity. So 3, 5, sometimes maybe like a 7-year grant. But when that is removed, the expectation for that service or facility doesn't go away. Also, the expectation in a community doesn't go away.
Yeah, it's a big challenge. I mean, the dependency, and it's a huge challenge. I've seen it as a state legislator, I've seen it. But is there any solution? It really should go through the judicial system, and government should be sued in the court of law for these excessive fines, which apply to the states too. So do you believe that is the best approach, or how it should be dealt with?
Well, it's a longer, a longitudinal approach, but the reason why I spend much more time in state capitals than I do here is because that's actually where we see the most effective and most innovative practices.
People just have to elect better legislators, I guess, better
That's
governments,
right. And call for better policies on that either local or state level.
Thank you. I yield back.